Hundreds of Americans on board a cruise ship docked in Japan have a light at the end of the tunnel. Our Michelle Choi is live in the newsroom. And Michelle, fill us in. What's the good news here?
Brandy, the U.S. Embassy in Japan says Americans currently on board the quarantine cruise ship will fly back home to the U.S. tomorrow on a charter flight. A major relief to about 380 Americans aboard the Diamond Princess cruise ship, some of which have called the luxury cruise a floating prison. The aircraft is set to arrive in Japan late Sunday, and those on board will be flown to both Travis Air Force Base in California and to Lackland Air Force Base here in Texas. Upon arrival, we're told everyone will go through another 2 weeks of quarantine. This comes as the French health minister announces its first death of a coronavirus patient in Europe. So far, more than 1,500 people have died, nearly all of them in China, from the coronavirus, and more than 50,000 people have been infected worldwide. Here in the U.S., there are now 15 confirmed cases, and the CDC is ramping up its own response to the epidemic, setting up 5 labs around the country where people with flu-like symptoms can go to be tested for the coronavirus if their flu results are negative. Meanwhile, scientists from around the world are racing to develop a vaccine. A pharmaceutical lab in San Diego says the coronavirus vaccine they're currently working on is showing promise. Brandy?